Okay, guys, and we're back with another episode of the Seth solo side quest. I'm Seth from the Lonely Stoner podcast, and this is episode 75 of my side quest. Now, in this episode, we're going to be talking about the recent reports around a Warner Bros. DC property being shelved, or not property, project that's been shelved. Now, it looks like what's been formerly in production was a animated sequel to the Smallville series. That's now been shelved, or canned even. That's probably never going to come out now, which is a shame. It's always a shame whenever you hear a project that was going to be made and then not end up being made. Smallville's a show that ran for a very long time. Actually, it was a live action show. Came out at an interesting time for superhero movies to come out, where they couldn't, really commit to being comic book accurate the way a series now could, and they still had to be somewhat based in reality because they didn't want to be seen as too comic booky or too camp, or you know what I mean. Because I think Smallville, it came out mid 2000s, so it was post Sam Raimi Spider Man, but pre Marvel Avengers, pre Avengers Assemble, right? See, a really interesting moment, and you know I've seen bits of it. I'm not going to pretend like I've watched every episode of the show and I'm a super fan of the show. I've seen bits of it. There's some great long-term storytelling in the show. Obviously, some of the effects haven't aged very well. Doesn't take genius to see that some of the effects haven't aged very well. But it looked like a lot of the cast hadn't gone on to do a ton following the show. Particularly the main ones, Tom Welling and the guy who plays Lex Luthor, Rosenbaum, I think his last name is. Obviously, those two had a podcast together, and I'm sure, like all these actors are, when they have a successful role, they're keen to come back to it because it's going to be a big paycheck for them. So that I no doubt those guys were keen for it. But nowadays, in 2025, when I see that Marvel or DC or Warner Bros. Or Disney are cancelling a series, I'm not surprised because both of these companies have lost a ton of money on projects in these past couple of years. And like we said, the gravy train can't continue forever. So not hugely surprised. I'm somewhat surprised because animated shows typically have a smaller budget. So you would think if it's got a smaller budget, it's a smaller budget show. It's the sort of thing that they could probably just push through because it's not going to break the bank. But if stuff like this is getting cancelled, then maybe you never know. But to be fair, I do hear this is the sort of thing that was in production before, or plans were put in place before James Gunn took over, and now James Gunn's taken over. He's not really got much interest in the Smallville animated series sequel, which I do hear it in my opinion. The thing is, for me, I'm probably not best placed to make an opinion on it because, like I said, I haven't watched Smallville. I'm not a Smallville super fan. I've watched bits of it and have enjoyed some bits of it, but like I said, it came out at an interesting time for superhero shows to come out. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe it's the sort of thing that will get picked up later down the line. James Gunn will maybe change his mind on it. A live action sequel would be very weird just because all the actors involved are so old. They could do a reboot maybe of Smallville, but then we've had so much Superman media recently in terms of Superman and Lois, and now David Corrin Sweat and Superman's film that James Gunn's going to be directing and writing. So yeah, I think low-key, probably for the best that the Smallville animated series got cancelled, but you never know. You never know these things. A few years down the line, James Gunn could change his mind and say, yeah, let's bring it back. But yeah, super short one, just to fill you guys in on that one, but we'll see what's next for Marvel and DC, particularly DC, of course, because this is related to DC, not so much Marvel, but let me know. Oh, I won't let you know. You won't let me know, I'll let you know. Alright guys, episode 75 of the Seth Solo Side Quest in the bag, and I'm out. Peace.